The Uncanny Caverns is a location just inside the Ash Heap south of the White Springs Resort. While exploring, as we walk down the 93 South, we come upon a small roadside market. This market was used as a roadblock for the striking miners before the war. There is various loot and corn here, but nothing of real note. Turning north, we see a sign that says the beautiful Uncanny Caverns, and in the distance we see a larger structure. Suddenly, we see cave crickets, and we realize there are more inside the building. Entering the first door, we find a gift shop with various loot found inside. On the counter is the mysterious map fragment Constance. This is part of a hidden quest that came out just before Wastelanders called Treasure Unknown. We will explore this quest line in a future episode, so stay tuned for that. As we continue to explore the structure, we see a doorway with a short hallway. At the other end are more cave crickets. Crossing the hallway, we see that it is actually a bridge over the entrance to the caverns. This second part of the structure is the main entrance where people would buy tickets, and it also served as a museum about the caverns. On the station behind the counter, there are two terminals. On the counter is the first part of Curse of the Wendigo. First, reading the reception terminal. Tour Guidelines Memo. Welcome. As a new member of the Uncanny Caverns family, part of your job will be to give multiple guided tours a day. Our motto is to give guests an uncanny experience. What does this mean to you? 1. Night Kid is real. Seriously. You have to truly believe this to sell it to others. 75% of our vacation traffic comes nationwide from those who have read about Night Kid in the tabloids, and our job is to sell that to them. He was born here, and he remains to this day. We have plenty of literature for you to absorb on the subject before you start leading tours alone. 2. Upsell, upsell, upsell. We've gotten a lot of complaints that our Wild Cave and Extreme Adventure tours are underwhelming, but that means the guides aren't doing their job. People can go anywhere for a natural cavern. They come here for the spooky atmosphere and the Night Kid mythos. It's your job to give that to them. 3. We've gotten reports of some of our tour guides allowing some really inappropriate things to happen during the lights out portion of the tour. Don't let this be you. Use your common sense and best judgment when it comes to how you conduct yourself. Keep these in mind, and you'll no doubt be an upstanding employee. Have an uncanny day. Moving on to the transaction terminal. Monthly transaction revenue, September 2077. Base admission, automated tour narrated by Dick Shale. Adults, $14, ages 13 plus, 1,189 sold. Children, $7, ages 6 through 12, 1,578 sold. Small children, free, ages 5 and under, not available. Total sales pre-tax, $27,692. Wild Cave Tour includes base admission, $89, ages 10 plus, 392 sold. Total sales pre-tax, $34,888. Extreme Adventure Tour, all tours bundle plus Devil's Toll Pass, $179, ages 16 plus, 43 sold. Total sales pre-tax, $7,697. Devil's Toll Passes standalone upgrade, $99, ages 16 plus, 4 sold. Total sales pre-tax, $396. Gift store sales, monthly transactions, 762. Total sales pre-tax, $4,572.29. Total gross sales, September 2077, $75,245.29. Total gross sales previous month, $84,759.47. Recommendations: increase sales of upgraded tour packages, increase base admission price, remove Devil's Toll standalone passes. The second entry just unlocks the safe located on the floor. As we leave the structure, we find a path leading to the cavern. This well-lit path leads down, and as we turn the corner, we find a Mirelurk. This means we have more Mirelurks to look forward to inside the cave. I hate Mirelurks. Heading in, we find a path leading us deeper into the cave. Following the path down, we find cave crickets on the ground below. At the first stop, we find a sign and a camera set up. People on the tour would be able to stop and get a souvenir photo. Now that we are at the first stop on the tour, we can listen to Dick Shale tell us about it.
Greetings, adventurers. I'm Dick Shale. You may remember me from automated tours at locations such as the Fancy Lads Factory and Prickett's Fort. Your journey begins in the Winding Gateway. As you descend the staircase, you travel back to an ancient land, millions of years old and perfectly preserved in time. Time travel sure works up an appetite, so guests with an upgraded tour plan can grab a complimentary box of Dandy Boy apples. Yes, Dandy Boy apples. So good, they never go bad. After our photographer captures the memory of a lifetime, head down the wooden path to learn the fascinating and mysterious history of the world-famous Uncanny Caverns.
Continuing down the path, we find a Mirelurk King. Kings are the worst. Then we see more of them. As we move down the path, we find the second stop on our tour.
Congratulations on making it all the way down the Winding Gateway. A feat powered by the refreshing fuel of Dandy Boy apples. During this self-guided tour, you'll experience majestic natural formations that evoke an otherworldly sense of awe and reverence. You'll also hear tales of the dark and mysterious Night Kid who leapt from the depths of these caverns into the imaginations of millions worldwide. Head left to continue the tour, and please stay on the wooden path.
We are now at a crossroads. Since the tour said to go left, that is the way we will go. Now we come upon the third stop.
You're now in the Royalty Room, made up of 3 beautiful natural columns named the King, the Knight, and the Squire. Fun fact, columns are formed by the natural union of stalagmites and stalactites over many years. The King column is over 200,000 years old. When first surveyed, the Royalty Room was filled with 2 tons of litter and dead livestock dumped by local farmers through a now collapsed hole. Head left to continue the tour, and remember, no littering.
Right next to the third stop is stop number 4, and 5 is also nearby.
Before you is the entrance to the Night Kid Room, where the mysterious half-man, half-bat was first discovered. Night Kid was found in complete darkness and surrounded by bats. He was 2 feet tall, weighed 19 pounds, and had been feeding on moths to survive. You can explore this part of Appalachian history and more at a reasonable price as part of our Wild Cave Tour, sold separately. Head right to continue the tour. Please let members of premium guided tours pass before proceeding.
The cave nook is littered with scrap, a dead settler, and a cooking station. This is also where we get the second part of Curse of the Wendigo. Going back to the path, we can stop at the 5th part of the tour.
Before you leave the Royalty Room, we'd like you to experience the decades-old tradition of listening for Night Kid. Some say if you're quiet enough at the right time of day, you can hear Night Kid scurry around the dark recesses of the cave ceiling. Now, everybody in the tour group, take a brief moment of silence, if you dare. When you're done, head down the stairs to continue the tour. Please watch your step.
Heading deeper into the cave, we find the sixth stop on our tour.
In front of you is the Halfling Hole, the second stop on our guided wild cave tour. The Halfling Hole, so named for its cozy size and quaint surroundings, features a natural pool with water so pure it has to be tasted to be believed. It is thought that the reason Night Kid was able to thrive for so long here is the abundant sources of shelter, fresh water, and bugs for protein. Head right to continue the tour. We remind guests to please not enter the Halfling Hole without a premium tour badge.
As we enter the cave nook, we see that it is trapped just like the last one. We also find various scrap, but nothing of any real note. So, moving back out to the path, we can continue to follow it. After killing more Mirelurks, we find the seventh stop on our tour.
The next stop in our tour is the impressive Poseidon's Passage, so named after the ancient Greek god of the sea, earthquakes, storms, and horses. The impressive stalactite and stalagmite to your left, known as the Trident, will one day come together to form a massive natural column. The natural cave water here is filtered through the cavern rock over centuries and is pure enough to bathe a newborn child in. Cross the bridge to continue the tour. For legal reasons, we encourage guests to stay on the trail and away from the water.
The passage continues, and there's not really much in this part of the cave, nothing worth noting anyway. So, continuing on the path, we come to the eighth stop on the tour.
The third stop on our premium Wild Cave tour is the Dead End, where the final standoff between Night Kid and the federal marshals took place. Night Kid, now an aggressive 5-foot-tall predator, was cornered and captured by the marshals after a lengthy and deadly chase through the caverns. He remained in captivity for a decade before he was freed under mysterious circumstances and returned to the caverns where he lives to this day. Step up the right path to continue the tour. Watch out for bats.
Going into the cave nook, we find even more scrap, more containers, and of course, an end-of-dungeon steamer trunk. There is also another cooking station. Nothing else of note is found, so going back to the path, we find the ninth stop on our tour.
Now we arrive at the infamous Devil's Offering, a tight and dangerous connection through the middle of the cavern to the royalty room. It is said that only those who offered a toll to the devil could get through this tight passage unscathed. Travel through Devil's Offering is only available by purchasing the Extreme Adventure Tour upgrade. Inquire at the gift shop to learn more. Head left to reach the final stop of the tour.
This narrow passage has nothing of note, but it is trapped and there is a Mirelurk at the other end. Going back to the path, we can continue to the final stop on the tour.
The final stop of the self-guided tour is where it all began, the War Room. It inspires both fear and respect from its size and massive formations. In the center of it all is Odin's Tooth, the largest natural cavern formation in Appalachia. It is truly a breathtaking sight to behold. We thank you for spending your time with us at Uncanny Caverns and encourage you to return soon for the Wild Cave and Extreme Adventure Tours. Head left up the stairs to exit, and please visit the gift shop on the way out. Thank you, and have an uncanny day. This is Dick Shale, signing off.
With that, the tour is now complete. But what makes the Uncanny Caverns so special? Well, to discover that, we must dive into the lore of this location, and for that, we need to understand both the Fallout lore as well as the real-world counterpart. In the real world, the Uncanny Caverns is based on the Lost World Caverns. Discovered in 1942, the Lost World Caverns feature amazing rock formations and presents challenges for adventurers. Like the Uncanny Caverns, Lost World Caverns also has multiple tour packages. The self-guided tour covers a half-mile loop which takes about 45 minutes to complete. This location also has a museum where you can learn about the Tyrannosaurus rex, Triceratops, and prehistoric bears whose remains were discovered in 1967 within the cavern. The Lost World Caverns are also the site of the famous Bat Boy. All through the Uncanny Caverns tour, we heard about Night Kid. Night Kid is based on the real-world tabloids, specifically the Weekly World News. The article claimed that scientists found an astonishing Bat Boy in a West Virginia cave. It had large amber eyes and oversized ears. Bat Boy was reported to communicate through high-pitched squeaks and squeals and would only eat insects that he caught himself. According to the article, Bat Boy was believed to be from a race of people who lived entirely underground. Bat Boy was supposedly found in an uncharted cave east of Seneca Rocks. In this case, that is the Lost World Caverns. Even though the story of Bat Boy was made up, Bat Boy has become something of legend and even inspired a Broadway musical. The original story was written in 1992. I don't know about you, but I kind of want to see Night Kid added as an area boss, or at least a new race of enemies. I think it would be interesting. Getting back to the Lost World Caverns, as I mentioned, they too have different tour packages. One called Cave Tour, which is the basic package, and the other is called Wild Cave Tour. That one just happens to match exactly with the Uncanny Caverns package name. The one thing that is different between these two caverns is that the Lost World Caverns focuses on real life and science, while the Uncanny Caverns focused on the Night Kid mythos. Some other facts about the Lost World Caverns includes a total length of 1.25 miles, features stalagmites up to 80 feet tall, and has an average temperature of 52 degrees Fahrenheit. In the Fallout universe, the Uncanny Caverns was also a tourist destination. By 2077, the caverns had run into financial troubles with month-over-month of declining sales. Those in charge of the operation decided to start making changes to the tour packages. Of course, this would prove to be too little, too late, as the Great War ended the need to increase revenue. The Uncanny Caverns is a location that we are brought to in multiple quests. Even daily ops plays a role here. One quest that brings us here is a Knight's Penance, which is part of the Steel Rain update. We will be exploring that in a future episode, so stay tuned for it. The other quest that brings us here is Who Sat Down Beside Her, which is part of Sophia Daguerre's questline. Again, this will be explored in a future episode. There is the potential to get 4 bobbleheads and 4 magazines, as well as a recipe and a weapon mod from this location. You also get tons of scrap here, so if you are in need, then this is a great location to scavenge. So what makes the Uncanny Caverns so special? The answer is in its beauty. This location is full of wonder and is one of the best designed locations in the base game. It is nestled on the border of the Ash Heap and Savage Divide regions, and quite a remarkable sight to behold when you first find it. Coming here at night is the best because the sign on the hill is all lit up looking like the Hollywood sign. This is one of my favorite places to visit in the game. With that, this lore episode comes to a close. If you enjoyed this episode, give a like, subscribe if you still haven't, and share this with your friends. It really helps the channel, and I appreciate you all. As always, I'm just glad you stopped by, and I'll see you in the next one.